Liverpool 1, Newcastle 0 in the Premier League, back on top in their pursuit of their second Premier League title, their 20th league title, and of course, this famous quad. A wasteful day in front of goal in many respects for Liverpool Football Club. This was, in all intents and purposes, a little bit of a battering. The amount of times they should have got their second, third, fourth, maybe even 5 goals in this game cannot be denied, but they come out on top again, Liverpool. The run continues. 2 points ahead of Manchester City that kick off in about 3 to 4 hours time against Leeds United. It sets up a super Saturday of Premier League football. We're going to delve into it. We're going to take some of your calls today. Make sure you're smashing the like button, subscribing to the Football Terrace. I want to know what your highlights and I want your reactions are from this game as Liverpool chase an historic season, historic trophies, and much, much more. Let's do it, people. Let's go. And as the comment section is already showing me, come on, City, we got to do it. City fans are in. Look, I'm not saying City fans are shook. I'm not saying City fans are angry or anything crazy like that. But you can see the pressure building up against Manchester City fans as it stands right. And it should. This is what a title race is all about. Look how many games remaining. Just 4 left after this weekend. No room to drop points whatsoever. And Liverpool, they came up trumps today. They came up trumps again because they weren't at their clinical best. They weren't as scintillating. They were quite scintillating in the play. The amount of times they had space out wide, the fact that they were able to rotate their team and leave out Fabinho, Salah, Trent on the bench, just to name a few. Okay, they had a lot of their better play. For me, Konate. I know Matic's brilliant. I think Konate's been amazing. I think he's their future on the bench. And they were still able to dominate play, create the opportunities. Where they lacked a little bit today was that finishing touch. And that was pretty much from everybody. Mane should have scored. Salah, when he came on, should have scored. Jota had some very good chances as well today. But that shouldn't really be a bother for Liverpool fans. You know, I'm someone that kind of believes in the kind of the hocus pocus element of football. And you didn't score so many today. That means you've got a game coming up very soon where you're going to put 3-4 goals in, and maybe you need it more on that day because you're playing against a better team. Newcastle resolute at times, some very good defending from target in moments, but overall they just couldn't lay a glove. You know, so Maximin, I don't even want to be harsh. He honestly is one of the worst football players in the Premier League. He looks great with the step overs and the shoulders going left and right, like a break dancer. That's basically what he is. But there's no end product. He is absolute pish. He is an eye test merchant's wet dream. Wow, his dribbles are so good. Mate, today, honestly, awful. But they didn't lay a glove on Liverpool. Liverpool, not even by far the best team. It should have been 4 or 5-0, no doubt about it. But of course, the pressure is now going to build up. Will Man City get the job done this afternoon against a very different Leeds United now with Bielsa gone? I'm intrigued for that game. Now, that game is going to be fire. Will City come up trumps? Maybe, maybe not. But I want your views. I want your opinions. I want your highlights from the game, my people. We're going to be getting Dom Hussim on. We're going to get Ram on. Ben's coming. Zane's coming as well to have their say on the show this afternoon. Scrappy, but a clean sheet. 3 points. Winning is all that matters. Our high line exposed Newcastle's laziness. Hopefully, Leeds can rough City up a bit, is what Daniel said. And do you know what it is? I don't even really feel like it was scrappy. I think from a Liverpool point of view, you're probably watching it and just desperate for that second, third goal to kill the game off. But I'm sitting here watching it and thinking, the game's over. Newcastle are doing nothing. And Newcastle have got some good players. And Newcastle's resurgence this season has been very, very good. And I'll touch on that a little bit later. But they weren't getting anywhere near Liverpool today. They really, really weren't. Lennox here thinks it's going to be 1-1 between Man City and Leeds later. And if it is, listen, when Liverpool win this league title, do you know how many apologies I need from people? Do you know how many apologies I'm going to need from people? And I don't even know why I'm celebrating that, because it's the worst thing that can happen to me is Liverpool winning the league when my team's awful. But there we go. We rested. You did rest play. And that's the crazy thing about today. That's why Liverpool fans should be almost as chuffed today as their first team beating Newcastle 3 or 4-0. You rotated, you rested individuals. And my first thought when I saw your lineup was, you're going for that quad. And we kind of know you're going for it, but this was one of the first times you've kind of seen an action from Klopp, which is so obvious. We're playing Newcastle. They're nowhere near our level. We can beat them with our second string. We can put 67-year-old James Milner into this team. We can put Naby in a more advanced position. We can leave Mohamed Salah on the bench and we'll still be okay. Like, we'll take out Trent and we'll still win. And you did. And I have to admit, it's brilliant from a football point of view as a Man United fan. Fucking raging. Raging. The number of times opposition caught offside by Liverpool. Listen, it's the high risk, high reward line, and teams, they fall for it every single time. They go too early. They delay the passes. The high line's brilliant and works well. But what I really see when teams play Liverpool, I don't even think it's tactical. It's fear. People are scared of Liverpool. Without a shadow, they are fearful. Those players are fearful. They do not want it. They do not want it. That's why there's consistent mistakes. But that's the nature of the beast. You beat people in the tunnel. And that's what Liverpool are doing right now. As I said many times recently, best team in the league right now and best team in the world. And I don't care that they're not officially on top on level points. They will catch Man City, in my opinion. That's what they're going to. And I've been saying that for a while now. Terry supports clicks, and that's the red fanboys. Yeah, look, we're a YouTube channel. We definitely like clicks and views. It'd be if I didn't want people to watch my content, I would just sit at home and speak in front of a mirror. Everyone that tweets, posts on Instagram, posts on YouTube wants views. It's the weirdest, diss in the world. You're a YouTuber and you want views. Yeah, we all do. I'm sorry. It's crazy. Do you know what doctors do? You become a doctor because you wanted to save lives. Yeah, well, you become a builder because you wanted to build houses. Yes. Fuck me. Honestly, some of the things... Isn't it a joke? Isn't it a joke that footballers... Do you know why footballers became footballers? They wanted to play football. Fuck me. Honestly. Some people... I don't know. I don't know what they were fed as kids. Too much mercury or something. I don't know. There we go. Too much lead in the air. Something happened. Man like Dwayne here says strength of the squad shown. And listen, I'm someone who has to put my hands up to this. I didn't think Liverpool's squad was as strong and as deep as they've shown this year. And I know that Konate and Luis Diaz have been added to that. So that's almost like a get out of jail free card for people that said there isn't the depth. It's there. And what's great about Liverpool proving they've got depth, though, and I want to see this more from fans, and I think Liverpool might be the first. We've got to stop blaming. I'm not talking about 7, 8, 9, 10 injuries. I'm talking about when there's 1 or 2 players out injured. We've got to get this out of football where fans suddenly go, it's fine to lose now. We're missing 2 players. That's never what any of the elite teams in the history of football have ever done. And Liverpool are proving they've got strength in depth. So if they do lose a star player for the last 4 games of the season, zero excuse, because we all can see their squad, their strength is good enough. The manager is good enough. The system is good enough. And it's about time fans back their teams properly. So great call there, my friend. Absolutely right. Terry is a Chelsea fan. You've heard that one before. Nice try. Be merciful with Terry. He just shows how deprived he is of good footy from his team. That is true, to be fair. Man United do deprive me, but there we go. What else are we saying here? Mane is the least clinical forward in the league. He's a tap-in king. I mean, I haven't checked. That's one of those things you can check with facts. What is his conversion rate this year? Is what you'd have to go and check. I don't know what it is because I haven't gone and researched it. But I can do that live on the air for you if people want. I'm going to go into Squawker here. I'm going to find Sadio Mane and see what his conversion rate is. And I'm sure I don't know what it's going to be. I'm just going to do this while we're live. I like to prove points, or you could be right as well, my friend. Maybe you've checked it and it's really, really low. So attacks, is this the conversion rate? Yeah, it's no way it's the worst in the league. His conversion rate this season is 23%. Means almost 1 in 4 shots results in a goal. Shows the eye test is misleading, didn't it, bro? Oh, I love this game. I love your game. I love your content, mate. Much respect from Australia. Keep up the grind. Thank you, Filthy Aussie. I appreciate the love. Always working hard for my people. We're going to start doing some calls in a minute, bringing everybody in one by one. Thank you, Xander. I think how you pronounce that, for becoming an official member of the Football Terrace today. Terry, the salt in the comment sections is hilarious. Yeah, I mean, it just is what it is. By the way, I'll be alive after City's game. If City are great today and they win, I will praise City. But we have got into this realm now with football fans where the praise has to be massive. I saw Jim Beglin's name trending during this game. Some Liverpool fans weren't happy that he wasn't praising them enough. And I'm like, it's weird. The world has got weird. The world has got so strange. It really is. Before I bring the calls out, I wanted to speak Newcastle for a moment as well. And I wanted to speak Newcastle because I heard the commentator say this and it triggered me a little bit. The commentator said, isn't it amazing that Newcastle were going to be the first team in history to not win any of their opening 14 games and survive? Wow. And I thought, it's a good achievement. But context is key. Did any of those other teams that hadn't won any of their opening 14 games of the Premier League season, did any of them get taken over by a trillionaire? Did any of them have a new structure, new owner, and hundreds of millions of pounds pumped into the club halfway through the season? Were they able to go out in January and take quality players from Premier League rivals? Sign one of the best up-and-coming midfielders in Europe in Bruno Guimaraes? No, they were not. So it's a good achievement, but it's like it's not like Derby County of old or Norwich or a team of that level have done it. There is like that big caveat of you've literally gone and got one of the richest men in the world to buy your club. So it's a good achievement and they should be proud, but don't try and turn it into a Disney story. This is not a Disney story. Do you know what I mean? Where like the Mighty Ducks, they couldn't even skate. They had magazines around their shin pads as shin guards. Do you know what I mean? And suddenly they go and win the state championship or whatever it was in the Mighty Ducks. That isn't this, bruv. That's not this. That's like, oh my God, you seen James? James? He was literally living out his car 6 months ago. He's now in a mansion. Yeah, he did win the Euro Millions, though. It's not the same thing as someone that's built up a business, like, Bezos style and become a billionaire. But anyway, I digress massively. I do love how people try and turn these good stories into like Disney stories. It's a mad one to me. But I'm going to go to calls now, people, and see what you've all got to say. Keep the super chats coming. Keep your member chats coming as well. A lot of people saying Soul. I don't quite know why again, you ain't got to talk about Man United on a day like today, do you? We don't play till Monday. We're also in the mud. Liverpool will have their Slippy G moment. Let's be honest. We know it's coming, is what a football guy has got to say. Terry twerks always with the winning teams. Now Liverpool, then City, Chelsea. That's actually called being unbiased. It means when teams are doing well, I praise them. When teams are doing badly, I criticize them. It's not, you remember, I love you, but that's not twerking. What would be worse is if Liverpool were doing well and I was trying to make it sound like, it's all fake. It's not real. They were lucky. It's mad, isn't it? I want somebody to be unbiased. I want somebody to be right down the fucking middle and not let his biases come into his opinions. When you do it, you're called twerking. Come on, bro. Come on now, my guy. Anyway, time for the calls, my people. Time for the calls. Nephew Terry has owned you, fella. I don't know what. Right. Okay, talking to each other. This chat is 50% glue sniffers. Do people still sniff glue? That was a big thing when I was a kid. A lot of people doing it. Teachers used to count the pots of glue in the class before and after lessons to make sure no one has stolen them. I don't know if that even happens at schools anymore. That was a madness. Maybe they've changed the product. I don't know. Anyway, Terry, but Newcastle were underspending compared to teams around them for years. They haven't spent 300 million. Listen, I've told you all before, the level of money spent isn't important as a structure, culture, and behaviors of the football club, attitudes internally. Bruno Guimaraes isn't joining Newcastle for money if they're not going in the direction that they're going in. So the structure of football clubs is more key than anything else. But anyway, first caller of the day. Who am I going to? I've got loads of calls. Tom's backstage. Tom's having a beer. Hey, right. We're going to go to Dom Hussim's coming on as well. First, we're going to go to Ben to have his say this morning. Smash the like and share button, people. Let's do this. Welcome back to the show, mate. Congrats on the win. Give me your thoughts.
Look, mate, this week's been a dream. Like, for obvious reasons, it's just been incredible. And this was the icing on the cake. Well, technically, later on could be the icing on the cake. But yeah, for us, as far as what we can do in our own hands, like, this was just massive. And I've been saying to a lot of Liverpool fans on spaces and stuff, this was our hardest game left in the league by a mile. Newcastle away, the form they're on, the belief that Eddie Howe, and I think it's been overlooked with Eddie Howe because obviously they've had the big takeover, but just the way he's got them playing is incredible. And I think he's going to be up there for manager of the season, to be honest. I don't think he'll win it, but I think he'll be within a shout. But for us today, like, you know, a lot of people, of course, were worried at the start with the lineup we went with. And rightfully so, man. Like, we had Fabinho, Thiago, Salah, Trent, 4 of our most important players, like, in the spine, just not playing today. And it was a huge risk with Klopp. And, you know, a lot of people were saying, oh, what's he doing? What's he playing at? And I was like, chill. If you can't learn to trust this now, you're never going to be able to trust him. So, like, just see what happens. And if we do lose today, let's have the conversations about it. But about the boys, I said it would probably be a 1 or 2-0 win. I didn't think we would batter them. We probably could have, to be fair. I think we did miss a few good chances. But look, it's all about wins right now, mate. And shout out to a few of those boys that came in today. Milner, exceptional. A player that not many Liverpool fans want to see starting for us. But he came in and he reminded us exactly how important he can be for us. Joe Gomez at right back, I thought, was unbelievable. You know, he's not had many minutes at all this season. So when he comes in and does a job, I'm very, very happy for him. You know, we don't know what the future holds for him. So, yeah, it's good to see, man. It's just the confidence, the way we're playing. And I've just seen a stat before I came on that this is now the most amount of wins we've had in a season in our club's history. And we've still got 6 games left, potentially 7. Wow. So, mad. It's mad.
I mean, there's all this sort of talk about where this Liverpool team sits in terms of the hierarchy of English teams, and that's always a difficult debate because you're always going to have fans of, you know, Man United, City, Chelsea, Arsenal that are going to come into that equation. But when you even look at it from a Liverpool point of view, I mean, you're on the edge of this being Liverpool's great. Forget that other clubs for a minute. You're on the edge of this being Liverpool's greatest ever team, you know, and you've had obviously the teams that had the likes of Keegan and Dalglish and many others in. You also had Gerrard's teams, which were nowhere near the greatness of anybody else. But this team is on the edge of doing something that no club in England has done before, even Liverpool. And I know that rival fans don't want it to happen, and I get that. But there is also this element of sitting back and watching history unfold that I do find quite exciting.
Yeah, look, I mean, growing up in the era where United won the league every year, and then the year they didn't win the league, it would be Chelsea, maybe Arsenal once or twice, but it wasn't nice. And then obviously City came along, the new boys on the block, and it just felt like we've been around, we've got the history, but we've never had that chance because, you know, whether it's the managers that were appointed, whether it's the money we had available, for whatever reason, we just never really got the chance to just dominate. And I'm not saying we're going to dominate now, but now Klopp's extended his deal. Like, I've never felt more secure in my club. Like, you know, I always said, oh, if he leaves after 2024, if he's only won 1 Premier League, 1 Champions League title, he's kind of done the job, but there was still so much more left from this team to give. And I think now that he's here for another 4 or 5 years, whatever it is, I think we're going to win 1 of each at least. And that, I think, would be a brilliant return. It's just untouchable, and none of us were ready to see him leave in 2 years. Like, no one wanted him to go because we don't know who was going to be in line to come in, whether it would be Gerrard, hopefully not, whether it would be Pep Lingers. But now we don't have to worry about that. We can enjoy the moment we're in. You know, we were linked with Tchouaméni. You did a stream on that, and that looks very promising from what I've seen. So we're adding to the squad. We're signing amazing young players. We're building a squad now that's going to grow with Klopp, because I think where your club went wrong, sorry for bringing this up, you kind of stood still once Ferguson left. But for us now, it seems like we're, okay, these players have been here for a long time. They're aging. Brilliant. Thank you for what you've done. But now we're going to look to sign the best young players in the world. So really exciting times.
Mate, I absolutely get you completely. Ben, great call, my friend. Well spoken as always.
Thank you, bro.
And
Thank you.
We'll chat again soon, my guy. Top man. Thank you, Ben.
See you later, mate. Take care, bro.
Cheers. And look, I want your views and I want your opinions. I think what he said there about Klopp, there was a lot of, oh, what's he doing with this starting lineup? Klopp knows what he is doing. There's no doubt. Blue Viper, one of our members here, says the ref was shocking. Liverpool cheating. Newcastle robbed. Look, when that tackle happened from Milner that led to Naby's goal, in real time, I thought, oh, he might have followed through there, might have caught him. As soon as you saw the replay, it was the other way around. It was actually the Newcastle player that caught Milner. If Milner would have won the ball and then his studs would have gone up in the air and caught the player in the knee, maybe there's a point. But it wasn't a foul, and I'll be the first to call it out if it was. Dexter here says, hardest fixture left, mad disrespectful to Conte and the Spursy squad. Can't say I disagree, is what Dexter's got to say. Next on the show, we're going to get Zane on, and then we've got Ram, we've got Rack, we've got Tom, we've got the Dom. Zane's here with us now. What you saying, mate?
Well, another win. Do you know what? From my point of view, that made a statement, right? The amount of changes we made against an informed Newcastle at their ground, 12:30 kickoff, that showed levels, bro. Do you know what I mean? In terms of the depth squad, the squad depth, basically it shows the ambition and desire, because obviously I've talked about how important at this stage of the season is to have your squad. And also, compared to what Man City, their squad is basically holding together by a few teams now. You can see there's a lot of injuries. And the fact we could rest so many key players, freshen up for Tuesday, and then with a view that we can attack on all fronts. I've got to say, man, I'm impressed, bro. I'm actually impressed in the way the boys are doing it. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, the icing on the cake is the extension, because what Klopp said was quite vital in that statement he made to the press and stuff, is that it's not just him, it's his team. They've all signed, and the way they feel, they're not at the end of the journey. They're just sort of getting warmed up and getting ready. So 4 years with him and his team fully energized, going for it all. What's not to love about being a Liverpool fan at the moment, man? Do you know what I mean? I know it's a bit depressing for you as a man who's seen this kind of stuff, but you've got to rate it, don't you, Terry? Seeing
Well, this is the thing. There's Terry, the Man United fan, and then there's what I have created is in the Football Terrace community. And my job in terms of this is hosting and being as unbiased as I can, and obviously giving my true opinions, but not playing down what, like I've said to City fans this year, they seem to miss this, that if they go on to win this Prem and this Champions League themselves, they go in the conversation instantly as one of the greatest Premier League teams of all time. But I've always stayed true to the fact that I believe to be in that conversation, that team needs a Champions League, because it's what you do in and out of the league and what's surrounding your Premier League titles that matters. I've never yielded from that, and I think that's what's key here. And you are right. Listen, what Liverpool are doing is sensational, and it's going to be intriguing to see how these next 5-6 games remaining of the season go. It's going to be an epic time, no doubt about it. And one big game left against Tottenham now, and we'll see what happens.
Well, Terry, do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, people don't underestimate how difficult it is, right, to play European football, then on the weekend play a league game. Do you know what I mean? Look at West Ham and Leicester. Since they've gone deep in those cups in Europe, their league form's fallen off, right? So I think people need to appreciate what Liverpool are doing. Is quite hard. It's extremely hard to consistently get results, both in Europe and then obviously in the league. And I just think, you know what? I can see why the chat is so salty today, bro. Honestly, like, there's so many Man City fans in there just bitching away, bro. And I'm just thinking, relax yourself, bro. Do your thing, bro. That's it. You won't see many Liverpool fans bitching about City and they got lucky with decision, this and that, right? So all I'd say is, Man City fans, have some class. Do you know what I mean? Relax. You've got your game later on. I personally picked that game against Leeds as a possible game that Man City could drop points at, because, like I said, the squad's wobbling at the moment. They've got a lot of injuries. They're going to Ellen Road. It's a different Leeds now. It's not the Bielsa Leeds. This is a more tactically astute Leeds who've got good wins. I think they've got like 3 or 4 wins in the past 5 games. So they're not a walkover. It'll be interesting, like I said, to see what City do, because it's not a gimme, City are going to walk it 2-0. And also, I'm not watching the game. Liverpool fans, don't waste your time watching that game, because do something else, bruv, because let them do them, bruv. Let them do themselves. You know what I mean?
I hear that. Zane, good call, my friend, and we'll chat again soon, brother. All the best. Top man. Thank you. Viewers, please make sure you're hitting the like button, you're subscribing, and turning on the bell notification button as well. We've got a few comments here. Terry, your caller said that Newcastle was the toughest game that Liverpool had left. They still have to play Tottenham and Wolves. Tottenham at Anfield, though. The problem is at Anfield, I don't see Spurs doing anything against them at Anfield, if I'm being honest. I really don't. Spurs are very good, but Anfield's just too tough a place to go. And by the time that game happens, the atmosphere, yeah. I mean, so everyone's going to have a different view. That's what Ben thinks. You obviously think different, but thank you very much for the super chat. The amount of toxicity and salt that 14-year-old Virgin City and Chelsea fans are spreading is so satisfying to see. Best thing was our defense today. It's from Akash. DeMarcos here says, out of sheer pathetic pride, Terry wants the age-old enemy to get 20. You should really desire a City title win. Please see this. Who I want to win and who I think are going to win are two completely different points of view, opinions, feelings, and emotions. My job isn't to come on here on the terrace and just predict everything based on what I want to happen. That's not how predictions should be done. Predictions should be based on what you think is going to happen. And I think Liverpool are going to win the league. I would prefer City to. I prefer Chelsea to win the FA Cup. And I prefer Real Madrid or Villarreal to win the Champions League. That's what I want to happen. I don't believe in this talking things into existence. I don't believe any of that is plausible or possible. There's already a divine plan. It's kind of weird why people pray, really. But anyway, I'm talking religiously from a Christianity point of view. I've always thought that. If there's a divine plan that's already set out, why are you praying? Why is he going to change it for you? Anyway, I digress massively, right? I'm just saying what I think is going to happen and what I want to happen are two very different things. But I kind of get your point. In the world we live in, it's almost if you don't say it like that, people don't kind of get it. But yeah, I hear you. Dom Hussein now on the show with us to have you say Terry Tibbs to come as well. Keep it in the like and share button, people. And by the way, if you are religious, that isn't meant to offend you. I'm just purely putting it out there from my point of view. But there we go. Man like Dom Hussein here. What are you saying, bro?
Hi, Terry. I've been listening to what you're saying as well. I think Ben is crazy. It's definitely not Newcastle. It's Spurs at home, 100%. Ben has gone ballistic. I know Ben. I speak to him every day. This man has just gone wild because when he said Newcastle away is the toughest game, then, Ben has just lost his mind. I think with the game today, first of all, completely agreed with the foul. If you're going to genuinely do the VAR Liverpool thing today, you genuinely just please switch sports. Because if someone cannot actually, as Terry said, when you watch it and you watch the replay, it's actually more of a Schär foul than a Milner foul. And when they showed it from the opposite side, you could crystal clear see Milner win the ball. Now, if he went through and hit him on the knee or hit him on something like that, okay, maybe you'd understand. But it wasn't even like a dangerous, follow through. So it is what it is. But listen, today the most impressive thing is, and Terry touched on it at the start, and he was spot on when he said it, the squad depth. Players today came in: Milner, Henderson, Joe Gomez played as the right back, our best player on the bench, and we still went away to Newcastle, who are 9th. So it's not like you're playing a 20th place team. We still went to Newcastle, who are 9th, and we got 3 points, kept a clean sheet, by the way. So all of these little things matter. And also, now this proves to me that Klopp is just going for all competitions. This is what it proves for me now, because it's as simple as guys, we just played 4 back to back games with Thiago, with Mo, with this guy, with that guy. So now we're gonna rest this guy, we're gonna rest that guy, we're gonna rest this guy, and this is basically what it shows. Because I feel like now we're just competing on all fronts, and this is what it feels like: a bit of a rotation. 4 players. If you probably ask 90% of Liverpool fans, they'd say our important players, as in most pivotal, that we feel if they're missing, is Trent, Mo, Fabinho, Van Dijk, and Alisson. 3 of them today were on the bench, and we still won the game, still kept the clean sheet. And I'll be honest, I didn't think Newcastle posed any danger whatsoever. I think first half they had 25% possession, so it's not like Newcastle worried me. We're doing really well. And the one thing I will say as well, today, Villarreal currently are losing 2-1 to Deportivo Alaves. So that as well suits us going into that game. So listen, we have a step foot in Paris, in my opinion, 1.5 feet. I wouldn't even say 1.5 feet out of 2 in Paris. FA Cup final, currently top of the league. And Terry, I'll say one last thing. Today, Leeds are drawing 1-1 with Manchester City. It's gonna happen. We're gonna go top of the league tonight. We're going top of the league tonight. It's happening.
It's a big claim, but I don't think it's an outrageous one. Look, City have got to step up, and look, City are capable of beating Leeds 3-4, 5-0. But you playing first, I think, is massive. It's a very it's a massive thing, and it's a small advantage because City now know they have to win, and there's always a different mindset going into games like that, because you know if City would have played first and won today and gone 4 points in front of you, your game becomes a bit more pressured because you can see that gap now. So yeah, I'm very intrigued for the 5:30 kickoff today to kind of see what happens and what way this goes as well. And yeah, listen, what you said about the squad depth. Listen, it's made rivals a lot saltier today, and my job isn't to be salty. My job isn't to sit there and throw salt. And you have to just give credit where credit's due. Equally, where this will play into the other direction, and Liverpool fans will hate me, is if you get a couple of injuries now and don't win the league, I won't be allowing anyone to blame it on injuries because the squad depth's good enough, and that's how my mind works. I listen to what people say at the front, and I use their same logic in reverse when things go wrong. But that's just me being unbiased and playing devil's advocate. But you guys are very, very good right now. I still see you winning the league. I'm honestly looking at it now, and if you're in that Champions League final, you're winning that as well. I'm just praying that Chelsea stop this treble stroke quad. I'm just praying they stop it.
That's what I think will happen as well, because the FA Cup is this cursed trophy for us. It's just this one thing with the FA Cup that I cannot understand genuinely. Like from the start, Terry, you've known me for a while. From the start, like from 3-4 months, when people started to talk about quadruple, blah, 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 the one thing I've always said is FA Cup is a problem. FA Cup is a problem. I always think it. 1984, we were supposed to be the first team to win the quadruple anyway, but we lost in the FA Cup final. We lost in the FA Cup final to Wimbledon. We lost to Chelsea in 2012. We lost to Aston Villa in the semi-final, like in Gerrard's last season. The FA Cup is just a shit trophy for us. 2006, if it wasn't for Gerrard's heroics, we probably lose to West Ham as well. So, like, I just cannot stand the FA Cup. But listen, the other two, I'm confident. I think we'll win the Premier League, and I think we'll win the Champions League as well. I think those two I am confident in. The one thing that's just sitting in the back of my mind, like going like, you're going to be the one that ruins it, is the FA Cup. And I just do not understand why. It's genuinely how I feel. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, listen, I hope how you feel, at least with the FA Cup, comes true. Listen, Dom, top man, and I'll speak to you again soon, brother. All the best. Thank you for coming on. Take care. Someone here said that's why Grizz hates the FA Cup. Yeah, look, when you're not successful in it over a period of time and you lose a lot of finals or things go wrong, I can understand. It gives you a feeling. That's how I feel about every game right now as a United fan. Terry Tibbs on the show next to Javi Say. What are we on likewise now? Just over 300 likes. Let's get this past 500 while we're live on the air, please, my people. Terry Tibbs is here now. Big Liverpool fan. What you saying, mate?
How you doing, Tel? Just before we start, whatever happened to that Tottenham fan, Alex? He was comedy gold.
He's been on a few times. He goes to a lot of Tottenham's games now that the sort of pandemic's over. But yeah. He'll be on again soon. I'm sure he'll be on after they play you guys actually soon.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Yeah, but anyway, today, I didn't think we were at our best. I thought Klopp needed to make the changes that he made. I thought in certain parts of the games we managed it well. I think, but if you're playing a better team there, because it's a hard place to go anyway, to Newcastle, their fans create some awesome atmosphere, don't they? You know, the stadium's always booming, and that's why I was more worried about going to Newcastle about what I am at Tottenham at Anfield, because I agree totally with what you're saying. If we were going to Spurs, you know, maybe it'd be a different story and it'd be, you know, sort of squeaky bum time, but I think with us having them at Anfield, you know, it's a totally different story. But Newcastle, for me, was the one I wanted to get past. Okay, yeah, they didn't pose a threat. I mean, if Sam Maximus' tarantula legs were able to untangle themselves, he might have been able to produce something. He likes running into alleyways, Sam Maximus, and sometimes he can do brilliant things. I mean, he's kind of like Zaha in a way for me. Like, one day he can be absolutely brilliant and on it, and then for 3 weeks after that, he just doesn't do anything. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I was worried about, if certain players like that would show up. I want to talk about consistency as well with referees. For me today, Almiron should have got a yellow card for diving. Why didn't he receive a yellow? He clearly dived when he went past Matip. And this is what I'm talking about in terms of consistency. Like, even today with Liverpool, we committed some tactical fouls, let's call it, that should have been either free kicks or they should have been pulled back. You know, and I just think the consistency of the referees in this country is just absolutely shocking. So I want more consistency from the referees. But today, squad depth proved, and we held on, and we weren't great, but in the end, we got the job done.
Listen, hear you on that, Terry. Great call as always, my friend, and we'll chat again soon.
See you soon, mate. Bye now.
Top man, top man, top man. It's interesting to take there from Terry about Liverpool not being that great today. I was just looking, I didn't look at the stats throughout the whole game. 24 shots on goal, 10 of them on target, 65% possession, 83% pass completion, 3 what they call clear-cut chances in the game. They dominated. They smashed Newcastle. I mean, it's interesting how, like we always say, like when you score goals, like if they'd scored 3 or 4 today but played worse, it would have felt like an absolute drumming. Today was a drumming in all aspects, barring converting those opportunities and chances. And unlike Liverpool of late, like just not as clinical as we've seen them in other games and in other tournaments. But listen, when they played City recently, very, very clinical, 3-0 up in the first half of the match as an example. Sometimes it doesn't always go that way, but I thought they were very, very dominant today in nearly every area of the pitch. Tom Little on the show now with us. Then we've got Ram to come, man like Rack. We've got ads. We're taking your calls. Make sure like buttons are being smashed. Give us your highlights and your fan reactions to this game. A comment says, I love the Scouser accent. Thank you very much for that member chat there, my friend. What else? What's this here? I thought we were great, just wasteful, is what Sean C's got to say. And I think you're absolutely right there. Tom Little one now. What you saying, mate?
That was an important one. You know what? This past week and a half, I've been really impressed with the players. You know, we had Everton, and they came in there with a game plan, which was to stifle us and to annoy us and to try and get us to make a mistake. And the players didn't lose their heads. They kept their heads, and we won 2-0. Villarreal came in and done a similar thing, and we kept our heads. And today, you know, there was a lot of rotation. Before the game, I was very critical. You know, I thought we made too many changes. You know, we'd rotated almost the entire midfield. The attack didn't have Mo Salah. Lad, oh my.
He's 20. He's 20 years old.
20?
He's 20. He's 20.
Right, anyway, the attack didn't have Mo Salah. You know, we had no Bobby Firmino, no Trent. I thought we made a lot of unnecessary changes. I understood this was the game where you'd have to make them because we've got a second leg and then Tottenham. But I still thought we made too many. But the players who were coming today, especially the players that were brought in to do a job, and they came in and done it. James Milner, brilliant. Can't fault him. You know, I had my concerns going into it. But he comes in and does a fantastic job. It's never a foul, that tackle. That is a brilliant tackle. I'll watch that tackle back so much. Gets his foot there, gets his body on the line. It's brilliant. Naby Keita, fantastically taken goal. I don't know if it's been mentioned yet so far, but Naby Keita, that goal just exudes class. To take it round the keeper like that, from that angle, it's brilliant. But I was just really impressed with the defence today because there was a lot of time. They didn't put much pressure on us, but they had the moments, and every single defender in that team today had their moment where they were relied on to step in and do their job, and they've done it. So this past week has really impressed me with everyone from the club, and it just gives me an extra bit of confidence that I didn't have at the start of the season, because the Brentford game at the start of the season, the Brighton game especially, they were similar to what we're going through now, but we were drawing them games at the start of the season. Now we're winning them comfortably. I was never under any sort of worry today. Even when they had their spells, you know, when they were pressing Alisson really well, and, you know, Bruno Guimaraes had that really good chance from outside the box, I was never really worried about what they'll do because I've got so much faith in this team at the minute. Yeah. Whereas I didn't have that at the start of the season when we conceded 3 to Johan Visse and Vitaly Janel. You know, I'm just really impressed how this team stepped up, and it just gives me a newfound level of confidence going into the last games of the season that if City do slip up, I don't think it'll be today because, let's be honest, Leeds are a bit dodgy at the back. But if they do slip up, I know that this team will take that opportunity and they won't let it slip, which is something that's been really important for me to think about all season.
No, mate, listen, to completely agree with you on that, mate. And I think you guys have just got that. I felt it since January. Liverpool have just got this bit between their teeth, which is so important. And it's why I've given them the edge in this race.
Well. Luis Diaz, oh my God, Luis Diaz, a £37 million bargain. It reminds me of when Sadio Mane first came in from Southampton. When he came in, you'd see he wasn't afraid to size up a player. He'd get the ball and he'd be about 20 yards away from from goal, just outside the penalty area, and he'd size up a defender, and he'd go, "You make the first move, I'll get past you." And that's gone from Sadio Mane's game, and he's adapted, and he's been brilliant in recent weeks. Stay wearing his best game, but that's going to happen. But Luis Diaz today was absolutely fantastic again. One thing I really love about him, though, I don't know if anyone's really mentioned, if anyone's thought about it, the fact that he gets involved in the challenges. Especially today, there was one where it was Fabian Schär on him, and the ball's bouncing through the sky, and he challenges him in the air, and they both end up on the floor, and he gets up straight away, chases the ball down, gets there ahead of Matt Target, and creates a chance. That fight, that desire to get there and prove something, that's worth more than ability. It proves that he actually wants to be. It proves that he wants to prove something to these players, and it's why, in my opinion, he's in our first choice front three, because not only has he got the ability and the technique, but he's got that desire, and that showed especially today, and that was needed today.
And do you know what's great about this as well is I've had this conversation with other fans from other clubs. I'm not going to mention the players because it will trigger certain fanboys, but this is why competition at football clubs is key. And this is, I remember two years ago, and you were about, Ram was about, Rackle definitely nodded his head to this. I lost a lot of support on the terrace from Liverpool fans when you guys were linked with Timo Werner and Kai Havertz, and I was saying, okay, when they come in, who do you see them taking places in the first team from? No one. Won't ever happen. And it's almost like, why would you have this attitude of no one can come in and take a first team place? Liverpool become a better team if your new signings oust the players are currently playing. Right now, everyone loves Thiago. Everybody loves Fabinho. If you guys were to sign Tchouaméni and he came in and is performing better than Fabinho, no one's going to care that Fabinho is being dropped. Your team's just become better. And that's the attitude of elite teams.
People think that players come in and then the other ones don't get a chance. Competition. It's proven it this season with Robertson, especially. At the start of this season, Tsimikas was getting a lot of games. And since a spell where Tsimikas, I think he was suspended or injured or something for a couple of games when Robertson came back in for an extended period of time, Robertson has been, in my opinion, better than Trent since the turn of the year, since Tsimikas had his chance. That's what competition does. It gives the players a kick up the backside. You've got to, this isn't a guaranteed. And Luis Diaz coming in has given Sadio Mane that kick up the backside that we all hoped it would. Sadio Mane has been a revelation at centre forward. What he's been doing in both the creative and the goal scoring standpoint has been so important. And Luis Diaz as well. He's also, it's not like he's been bad. He's got what? Is it 2 goals, 2 assists in the league? But everything else he's done off the ball. You sit there and watch him. He's got one of the best first touches I've seen from a Liverpool player in years. He chest controls the ball like it's nothing. He can take down a 60-yard pass and it won't go a yard in front of him. He was so needed for this team, and I'm so glad. Jürgen got his new contract this week, and that was much needed. But I'm so glad that they're giving him more trust in the transfer market, because the man knows what he's doing. And Luis Diaz is just going to be another one of them signings that we'll look back on in a couple of years' time and go, he's another one. Add them to the Sadio Mane, add them to the Mo Salah, add them to the Van Dijk, add them to the Alisson list, because the kid's class, and he's only going to go up. He's what, 24, 25? That's it. That's what, at least another 7 years at the top level. Yeah. Under Klopp for half it, he's...
No, mate, I agree. I agree with a lot of what you're saying there, Tom. I really appreciate you coming on, having your say. And I'm sure we'll chat again in the week after the Villarreal comeback.
100%. Wow. Hold on.
No. Take care, my friend. Speak to you soon. Thank you. There has been in the passing few moments some really sad news in the footballing world. It's been confirmed officially, actually on the Twitter account of Mino Raiola, that the football agent, of course, of Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Paul Pogba has sadly passed away. I haven't read the full statement. I'm not too sure if they even mentioned what the illness was. But yeah, of course, I think the tweet states that he is passed. I haven't read the whole thing. It says, with infinite sorrow, we share the passing of the most caring and amazing football agent that ever was. Mino has fought until the end with the same strength, but on negotiation table to defend our players as usual. Mino made us proud and has never realized it. So they have confirmed that. Sad news. You know, I know everyone's got an opinion on Mino Raiola. I don't think he was I've read about him. He might have been an arse when it was, you know, towards clubs and the way he made people feel about him. But I think in terms of looking after his players, that the feedback's always been very, very good. So yeah, really sad news in relation to him and that. And I had a bit of a rant the other day when people were breaking that news before it was confirmed by family members, before it was confirmed by people that were actually close to him. I just don't think. Listen, it's not transfer news. It's not a rumor about a player having a spat with a manager. It's like actual life and death. So yeah, RIP to him, and all prayers and love going out to his family and loved ones and everyone connected to him. What's my opinion on him? I've always said this about football. Football agents are very important for players. Football players would get exploited without agents. These fat cats at the top of football would keep all the money for themselves. What I love about footballers getting paid what they get paid is it's the only industry I can think of where the workers, as in the most important workers, get paid more money than the bosses, get paid more money than the people running things. You know, and I'm not talking in the actual footballing element of it. In nearly every other workforce, that you could have a team you put together and assemble and send them out to sell your product, you know, grow your organization, you always earn more than them. That's the general rule of capitalism, which, by the way, I don't have an issue with. I work for a bank. If you work for a bank and you're against capitalism, you're a weirdo. But in football, it works the other way. The footballers earn the most amount of money, and the agents are key for that. Most footballers, something like 97% of them, are from working class backgrounds from around the world. So them being able to earn exorbitant amounts of money through a sport that we all pump billions and billions into, I think agents play a massive part in that. And it's something I'm, as a working class man, I absolutely love. So yeah, that's my overt take on that. What Rat coming on, then Ram, then Ads. I say it's Ram. I always say Ram a bit later. Obviously, one of the stalwarts of the football terrace. So stay around for Ram, stay around for Rack. Rack's here now, though. What you saying, bro?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good, Terry. Look, first of all, rest in peace, Mino Raiola. He was looking after his clients, and he had their best interests at heart. That was his job. We as football fans may or may not like that, but you know, he did a good job for his people. I'm sure he was. You know, his players never said a bad word about him. So, you know, anyway. But yeah, so rest in peace to him. Just going back on the football, great performance today. I think. Today was obviously not a spectacular performance in that kind of sense. It was much more controlling because we've got our eyes on the prize. Sam is absolutely right. We're going for everything. Right now, we're going for everything. And look, if we fall short in the Premier League and City win all the rest of their games, then fair enough. Then you just say, okay, they beat us to it. Fair play. But we're not giving up. We'll win every game until the end of the season, and then we'll see what happens. But today was also like a couple of the other guys I've mentioned in terms of the squad, brilliant. Joe Gomez today was exceptional for a guy who right back is not even his strongest position, you know. And he's been come in and done a brilliant job. Looked very assured. Milner and Hendo, I think, like Ben was saying, not most Liverpool fans don't think they're the best combination, but they came in today and they did a great job. So I'm just super happy, man. We keep winning. Plenty of games to go, plenty of history to be made. Let's do it.
Absolutely, mate. I could not agree with you more there. What a lovely day there, looking over my London that I can see. Beautiful. Rack, top man for coming on and having your say. Really appreciate it, and we'll speak soon. Thank you. A lot of people asking in the comment sections, what is this going to do to the transfer market? By the way, we've gone to our member chat only section of these streams. We are bringing them back. It's something that I often forget to do in terms of clicking a button. We are bringing that back to honor our members. Look, of course, Mino Raiola's passing could impact the transfer market. One of the biggest reasons for that is he was so hard to negotiate with. He's not there anymore. But don't be surprised. He's a smart man. He's a businessman. Contingency is key. There'll be someone else within the organization that is going to step up now and do that and been trained and nurtured by Mino. So don't expect those deals suddenly to go all in the favor of the football clubs and those players not to be taken care of. I'm sure there is a plan in place. And if this wasn't, we don't know, I'm only speculating, if this wasn't a shock quick illness and it's something that was kind of expected, the man's put a plan in place. So yeah, I wouldn't even be thinking about that now or worrying about it, but I'm sure that they have a contingency in place. Rams on the show now. Smash the like and share button. What you saying, mate?
Yeah, man, it was a very good performance from us. Very comfortable performance. I wouldn't say it was a smashing or anything. It was just absolutely comfortable. We controlled the game. For me, like Naby this season has been exceptional. Whenever he's been on the pitch, majority of the time he hasn't put a foot wrong. And that's mainly down to the fact that he hasn't been injured that much. You know, his best season is when he's actually hasn't been injured and had a good solid run of games. And him being there is just an absolute asset. He scored a lot of important goals for us. I know there's one against Atletico, obviously the first goal against you guys at Old Trafford, and now this one as well. Like he's been absolutely fantastic for us this season. And that's been a replica of all the players this season. Like all the players that are supposedly injury prone haven't been injured that much. Joel Matip, another prime example. No one doubted his ability as a defender, but him not staying fit is like, what's the point of him being there if he's not going to be on the field? And that's been the majority of the season. That's been our story of the season. The fact that all of our players, thankfully, haven't been injured and haven't got any long-term injuries, and that's why we are challenging for four trophies this season, and everyone's stepping up. If we end up doing the unthinkable and winning the quad, every single player in this Liverpool squad deserves a huge amount of credit, even the fringe players, because they had to step up when they've been called upon. So that's all I've got to say with this squad. And let's see if Man City can do the job against Leeds, man. Like we have to wait and see.
Mate, absolutely. And if they do, it's one of those weird days where the games on paper all look a little bit simplistic and easy, but they're the big days. They're the big days where shock was, because if City were playing a big team later, they could still drop points. But they were playing Chelsea, they were playing Tottenham. It wouldn't be like, oh my God, they dropped points. Dropping points to Leeds today not only helps Liverpool, but it's a shock result in itself. So all eyes on that.
That's why they've dropped points majority of the season, Terry. Like you think about Crystal Palace at home and away, Southampton at home. People forget they should have lost that game. Southampton should have got a penalty that game, but it's there to that's bygone be bygones. We've had our fair share of luck in our games, and they have. So it is what it is. Absolutely.
Ram, thanks for coming on, mate, and having your say. Always a pleasure to speak, my friend, and we'll chat again soon. Top man. Thank you, bro. Top man. Thank you. Some member chats here. What is he saying here? Chris Kamara leaving Sky after 24. He's sad. Listen, that's part of my childhood seeing him on TV shouting his head off. The bench players stepping up will prove to be a force going into the end of the season for Liverpool. It absolutely will. And I just think that's kind of, it's being slightly overlooked when it shouldn't be. The strength in depth, the players that have stepped up. And I was saying during the game that it reminds me very much of Man United in 1999. In 1999, I remember sitting with my brothers and my dad, and we started a game in the league, and Sheringham and Solskjaer started up front. We had Nicky Butt came into the midfield for Roy Keane. Blomqvist started on the right instead of David Beckham. We brought David May into the team because we had to rotate. And my brothers were, oh, you'll lose today, you'll lose. And we slapped the game. I can't remember who we played. I want to say it was Nottingham Forest, but I think we won the game 4-0. I remember my brothers just sitting there angry, like, oh, you're going to do the treble, aren't you? And that season, no matter who we brought in, no matter what the rotation, you know, we had no Paul Scholes and no Roy Keane for our chat final against a brilliant Bayern Munich. And we stepped up and we won the game because that team, albeit quite fortuitous, people would say in the end, but we scored 2 goals. They didn't. It just had this bit between our teeth. And I see that and I sense that. And I feel that with this Liverpool team. And some people don't like hearing it. Some people don't like seeing it. But it's just there. Look at Gomez at right back and Stones playing at right back. Both centre-backs. One came in and played a good game. Stones struggled at times. Klopp instilled belief. And I think belief is so important. Confidence is important. And as great as some of these Liverpool players are individually, I do think the way they think and feel as a team and as a unit is almost like a hive mind. That it's almost like it's like there's no pressure on them at the same time of them having this big task ahead. It's painful as a United fan to see, but it's sensational. Terry will burn out, cost them the Champions League. If they burn out, it could cost them everything. There's no doubt about it. The one thing that could make Liverpool burn out, though, is a bad result or two. But no one's getting... If Newcastle would have beaten them today, the mindset can change. And I always go back to this famous example from a film, but based on reality. When Ivan Drago got cut in Rocky IV, he suddenly realized he wasn't invincible and he became weaker. Not physically. His body suddenly didn't change. His mindset changed. He knew he could be beat. A lot of fighters in real life, once they've been knocked out and hurt once, we saw Masvidal, one of the baddest men on the planet, walk through people, take lick after lick after lick. Usman absolutely sparks him. When he fights against Kobe Covington, who isn't even a knockout ice, you saw Masvidal not really let go. Why? He may not even know it himself, but subconsciously in his mindset, he now knows I can be knocked out. It changes how you feel. The mentality at Liverpool is so strong. It really is. Ads is on the show now. What you saying, Ads?
Yes, Terry, man. Hey, what a result for us again, man. I think most people have covered what I was gonna say, but I think it's interesting for me, man. I think the way Liverpool operate has been fantastic this season. Apart from obviously the Henderson extension on deadline day, which wasn't a glowing thing, but since then they've kicked on. I think that Klopp announcement came at the right time for this team. After that Champions League game in midweek, which we played brilliant, to have a 12:30 kickoff, we've seen over the years where this is where teams drop points. And the fact that we could rotate our squad the way we did and still get a result was fantastic. Me personally, so I'm not into all this quad hype yet. For me, I always look at which ones are we in a position to actually win, which is the Champions League and FA Cup for me. For me, the Champions League is pivotal. And the fact that we could rotate now so we can finish off that Villarreal game was key for me. But at the same time, for the bench players like Joe Gomez and that to step up in this game and get the result done was fantastic. I look at Henderson and Milner, they get a lot of criticism, even me as well. But when Henderson plays in that 6, it can work with Milner. And this is the great thing about having squad depth. These are not players that are going to play every game. But when you need the job done, like a Newcastle team, who Newcastle have been on brilliant form, to come in and perform like that, I thought it was fantastic. I just think we're in a situation now where we could possibly win the Champions League and FA Cup. The league, I would love to win it, but there's one team that's as great as us at the moment that is out there, which is City. And I'll be honest, I just don't see City dropping points. I hope they prove me wrong, but I just don't see City dropping points in general. But what we can do is we can go out and win our games. And if that means beating Chelsea in an FA Cup final and winning our next game in Champions League and winning the Champions League, to me, that is still a massive season for Jurgen Klopp. So,
yeah, it's maintaining that perspective that I kind of felt this happened a little bit, and Liverpool fans kind of set themselves up during when you won the league 2 years ago. There was this talk around February time. It was February because it was just before lockdown in the March of this invincible treble, and you ended up winning the Premier League with a good amount of points, but you didn't break any kind of points records or multiple trophies or anything like this or go invincible. And it was almost this, some Liverpool fans I spoke to, there was almost this deflated feeling. And it's almost, don't lose sight of the fact that if you win a League Cup and the Champions League collectively, it's a very good season. And winning the reason no one's won 4 before. So it's almost not doing it shouldn't be looked at as failure because nobody's done it, Great call though, Ads. Really appreciate you coming on, having your say, mate. And we'll chat again soon. Top man. Thank you, bro.
Big up.
Cheers. Thank you. Ryan on the show next. Remember, if you do want to become a member, the link is in our description below. It costs as little as 99 pence per month. There's a number of packages in there as well. The scarves are almost, I've got an email actually from the scarf manufacturers. They're on their way soon. Plus, we're about to do a deal with a company, and I'm not going to say what it's about yet, where Football Terrace away days are going to become a regular occurrence for us. Starting off in the southeast, spreading across the UK, and then much wider. So being a member is going to be very, very important in terms of you getting the exclusive invites to these Football Terrace away days. Ryan's on the show with us now. What you saying, mate?
Long time no see, Terry. How you doing?
Yeah, I know, mate. It's been a while. It's been a very
I got
long while.
no pink jumper today.
No way. What do you want to say, my friend?
Yeah, I just want to say, obviously I'm a Newcastle fan, but we've come such a long way, and today just showed the golfing class today between Liverpool and Newcastle. We got ways to work if we want to actually challenge. I thought Liverpool were just so superior, and we didn't have we offered nothing. Like the offsides that we had, like from Miggy Almiron. I thought Alan St. Maximin, you know, I heard you say eye test Merchant's wet dream. Like I could kind of agree with that. Like he's not all the bee's knees, but like rival fans seem to like him a lot. But the thing is that he had a few chances going through, but Chris Wood, he's just an awful striker, man. Like we need to get a new one this summer. And Man City next week, I mean, the 6 home games in a row win, like it was good, but we beat teams our level and that we should be beating. And like now is the real test. And now like the golf and quality is actually showing now.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying there. Look, Chris Wood, I thought he'd do a little bit better at Newcastle than he has done, to be fair. We had a comment earlier from Motorsport Magpie that says, what's my view on St. Maximin? I just look at it. There's not enough end product. I mean, ironically, whenever he plays Man United, he seems to turn up and score goals. But there's a lot of skills, there's a lot of tricks, but there's nothing at the end of it. And this is almost where, like, people always argue eye test versus stats when they're comparing the world's best and the world's elite, and it annoys me. What I'm talking about is I don't care how good St. Maximin looks. I care about what he delivers at the end of it, and there isn't anything there. And I think he's a kind of player which, through the bad times, was exciting for Newcastle fans. But now what you actually need is quality, work rate, and productivity. Those 3 things are needed. And you need to look at the Chris Woods and the St. Maximins. They will not last. This new Newcastle regime wants, you look at like Bruno Guimaraes, okay? Not as skillful on the eye as a St. Maximin, but more efficient. The way he moves the ball is great. And I think, look, you suddenly start to add more players of his level into that Newcastle team, he'll elevate further because he's with better players. You know, you need to upgrade on St. Maximin. You got to upgrade on John Joe Shelby, Almiron. These are okay. These are mid to bottom of the half table Premier League players. You now need to start delving into that market and looking at those top half the league level players, and then picking up those gems, those Brunos, who I think honestly could, in time when he develops, play for any Premier League side. I think he's so talented. So there's a good future there for Newcastle still.
Oh, 100%. Well, the thing is, you mentioned those names, and like Eddie Howe is like getting the best out of all of them. But like, if we want to go further, we need more. Like for me, striker, winger, midfielder, center back. For me, and going to ASM, like he does lately, he's been causing a lot of divide in our squad. Like I hear a lot of Newcastle fans say they'd sell him this summer. Like, I think I'd actually keep him because I feel like Eddie Howe is the guy that can actually improve him because. Let's not forget, like, this team were in rock bottom with Steve Bruce. Like, he killed everyone's confidence, and it's the idea of like victims of bad management. And like, I feel like, statistically, like, he's got like a few goal contributions under Eddie Howe ASM, but like he did a lot more under Steve Bruce. But like, he's dug us out of so many holes, and like, if we get 2 quality winners this summer, like. Who knows what's going to happen to him? And the future is bright for us. Like we get more Bruno Guimaraes in the club, and his agent came out the other day and said that his goal is to fight relegation and then win the Champions League. Like I know that it might sound ridiculous to like a top 6 channel right now, but like the ambition's there, and like if we have more Bruno Guimaraes, then I think for me, like what's going on with Arsenal, Man United, Spurs. Those have to be our targets to like break in because, we're so far away from Liverpool and Man City. But I feel like in a year or two, if Arsenal, Man United, and Spurs like don't pick up the slack, and the fan base don't come together and like want and to raise the standards almost, I feel like I'd be worried for your club, man, and like Arsenal, Spurs. I
agree. I said this earlier on today. Like Newcastle will create the top 7 will be created because of Newcastle. The top 7 or the big 7, it will change, and Newcastle are going to be added to that soon because of the way the club's going to be run. There's no doubt. Yeah. Listen, Ryan, great to hear from you again, mate, and get a Newcastle perspective on the game. We'll chat soon, Terry. Brother. All the best, my friend. Thank you very much indeed. And Eddie Howe has done a great job, and Eddie Howe is always a very good manager. Always a very good manager. It was kind of weird to me how he just become unpopular. He wasn't flavor of the month anymore, but very, very good manager indeed. Thank you to Derek Freeman for becoming a first team member of the Football Terrace. It means a great, great deal to us that you have done that. Now, listen, we are live again after the Leeds versus Man City game. We've got a transfer roundup show coming for you later today as well. Please make sure you smash the like button before you leave. We have a super chat here actually. It says, Liverpool are a great team. They will never win the quad. We will never have another trophyless season under Pep. We're doing the double this season is what Thanos City has got us. And I like the fighting talk, my friend. Thank you very much for the super chat. And I'm sure we'll see you, Thanos, after the Leeds United versus Man City game. But until later, my people, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very